In light of everything that has happened in the last week, there's a lot of pressure to pick a side, to say something, to do something, to make a statement, to get angry, or to appear uncaring. There is a true need for clarity, for discernment, especially among Christian kingdom builders for which battles are yours and which battles are not yours. And so that is what I'm going to talk about today. This is not my typical talk, this is not my typical milieu, but I received an astounding amount of clarity because of the recent events. And even though my message most recently has been an abundance message of ti you can live the time-rich life, and I truly believe that. And I believe that because I am a Christian, because it does not make sense to my brain that the creator of the entire universe, heaven and earth, who created time itself, would then call a people, would then create us uniquely, then give us a divine calling, and then not give us sufficient time to fulfill that purpose. So to me, it's just a part of the design that we should have time and it should be abundant. And I love to talk about that. That is one whole side of my message that is a big part of how I help my clients find the time, get clarity on what is stealing your time, what is robbing your time. But beneath it all, I'm a clarity coach. And I can't help but speak to the fact that anger and outrage clouds our judgments when we need it most. And social media is a huge factor in that. And I do not think that the answer for everyone is to abandon social media. I think of social media as a chainsaw. It's a powerful, powerful tool that can accomplish a job very quickly or wield a lot of harm very quickly. Use the tool wisely. And so that is why I've titled this one Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Because and it's discerning the battles. Because if you are called to build something great, something big, and not everybody is, but the people that I work with certainly feel like they are. They feel like they're called to more and they want to know how to do that, how to fulfill that calling, that not pressure, but that calling within their soul. And if that's you, you cannot afford distraction. So let's just talk about, you guys, my brain works maybe differently than most. And that's okay. I've made my peace with it because I truly do appreciate the way that God has created me. But this message came out of a story that I was told when I was 6 years old. And you can read the whole story online, but it's from the story of Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby. This is a children's story that my teacher read to me when I was in either kindergarten or first grade. Stuck with me. Don't know why it stuck with me. But this is the parable that goes along with Choose Your Enemies Wisely. So, in case you're not familiar with it, the story of Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby. So there's a Brer Fox, and he's just really, really, really annoyed at Brer Rabbit. He starts blaming Brer Rabbit for all of his troubles, and mostly because he is grumpy and it's a hot day, and so he's just in a bad mood, and he starts thinking, it seems like I've just been in a bad mood for a long time. I feel terrible. What's made me terrible? And it's Brer Rabbit's fault. And he decides, I'm going to get rid of that Brer Rabbit once and for all. And so Brer Fox goes and builds a tar baby out of tar, and he lays it on the road. And pretty soon, Brer Rabbit comes along and in his cheerful, good, happy, go lucky mood. And he says, "Good morning" to the tar baby. Of course, being a tar baby, the tar baby does not answer him back, which offends Brer Rabbit. He's like, "Do you have no manners? What do you mean? I said good morning. Why won't you answer me?" And again, of course, because the tar baby has no voice, the tar baby does not answer. So Brer Rabbit gets so annoyed that he punches the tar baby. And as he punches the tar baby, he gets stuck by the tar of the tar baby. And that makes him even more mad because the tar baby won't let go of Brer Rabbit. And so he punches him with his other hand. And now he's really, really captured. And he gets so mad at him. He's like, "Let me go." And he punches him with his head. And now he's good and stuck. He can't move even a little bit at all. Side note here, it blows my mind. Such a good story. The tar baby is social media. The tar baby is the nonsense that people are putting out, some of which are not even real accounts meant to stir things up. But the tar baby might also be people that have differing opinions or differing perspectives. And you taking the time to answer them, even though it's a distraction from your own calling. Or the tar baby might be such limited thinking that you cannot even possibly imagine that there might be Christians who see an issue in two different ways. Okay? Because I have literally met Christians who believe that you can't be Christian and be a Democrat, or you can't be Christian and be a conservative. That's a problem of thinking on their part. How dare we think it is our job to judge another man's servant? The servant being the servant of the Lord. How dare we think it's our job to judge God's servant? And we're all God's servant. So understand this. You might be receiving judgment or you might be giving judgment. Check yourself, because with the same judgment that we give is the same judgment that we're going to receive. And so just because people are criticizing you for your stand or not stand, or for what side you believe, with your full God-given faculties and conscience and discernment of the matter, just because you're being criticized does not mean you're being wrong. But it also doesn't mean that you're right for everybody else either, okay? I truly believe God makes his servants in all different flavors. Like some are more compassionate, some are more black and white thinking, some are more bridge builders, some are more, no, we are going to protect this issue for all it's worth and all its calling. But we get mixed up. The tar is us fighting battles that are not ours with people that may not even be real and are irrelevant to our calling. So remember that. So to finish the story, Brer Rabbit's really nice and trapped right now in this tar baby that he has fought, and he thinks that the tar baby's fighting him. Tar baby's not fighting him. Tar baby's just being there. It's the trap. And Brer Fox comes along, and this is my favorite part of the story. He sits down and laughs at Brer Rabbit for 1 whole hour. Can't stop laughing at him. Brer Rabbit is stupid, and Brer Rabbit got caught. Don't be stupid. But it gave Brer Rabbit time to calm down and to start thinking. And Brer Fox started thinking himself, okay, now that I've got Brer Rabbit good and caught, what am I going to do with him? Because I can get rid of him once and for all. Should I cook him? Should I? And Brer Rabbit says, because Brer Rabbit's been thinking now. And he's like, fine, fine, cook me. That's fine. But don't throw me into the briar patch. And Brer Fox keeps on thinking too. He's like, oh, no, there's no sticks. What about if I hang him or I drown him? Whatever he suggests. Brer Rabbit's like, That's fine. That's fine. Please do that. But whatever you do, don't throw me in the briar patch. And Brer Fox finally was like, oh, sounds like you don't want to be thrown in the briar patch. Throws him in the briar patch. Obviously, the briar patch grabs all the tar, the dust, and that's how Brer Rabbit gets free. Okay, I could sit here talking about this story and how many lessons there are in it for days, but that would make the video probably uninteresting to most people. Here's what you need to know. Number one, what you fight defines who you become. Just let that sink in for a second. What you fight defines who you become. What the Brer Rabbit fought, the tar baby, is what he became, covered in tar. The person who's been arrested for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. What he fought made him what he became. He thought it's okay to murder somebody over speech. He is good chance going to reap what he sowed. What we fight defines who we become. Choose your enemies wisely. Now, this is very important. If you're building something big, you will have enemies. So many Christians are like Brer Rabbit before he punched the tar baby. Like, I'm just a happy guy and I just want everybody else to be happy, And so, just say hi and just be nice and just be kind. I'm going to do a video next week on the difference between peacekeepers and peacemakers because there's a huge difference between the two and you need to know the difference. So hear me very carefully when I say this doesn't mean you don't have any enemies. This means that you choose your enemies wisely based upon the calling that God has placed upon your heart. Okay? My enemies that God has called me to fight are apathy, scarcity mindsets, unnecessary chaos and confusion that slow down the work of God. There might be more, but there's definitely that. Fear in pursuing your calling. There'll be another video about that. But what are your enemies? Broadly speaking, we have three that the Bible identifies: the world, the flesh, and the devil. And there are way too many Christians concerned about the world and the devil before they've even fought the flesh. Anger can sometimes give us boldness, but sometimes it just makes us careless. Okay? And so we need to have the discernment to know the difference. Yes, Jesus had holy anger when he drove out the money changers in the temple. Okay? He said, "You've made my Father's house a den of thieves." That was righteous anger. But don't get it mixed up. Some anger is righteous. Not all anger is righteous, okay? You as a Christian need to know the difference, and you need to, even anger, make sure is yielded to the Holy Spirit. Okay? That's a fine distinction, but you will know the difference once you experience it. All right. So what you fight defines who you become. Becoming. We're becoming. We are constantly becoming in this world. Number two, you are called to lead, not to react. In times like these, we need to know what our message is so very clearly so that we know what is ours to speak to and what is ours to scroll past. I get this question all the time. Should I talk about politics on my channel if I'm trying to build a business? And the answer is it depends. And it depends on context and it depends on your message. There is no right or wrong answer. There is a time to speak and there is a time to stay silent. Have we forgotten that passage in Ecclesiastes? There is a time for everything under the sun. Some people are called to speak to all the political things. Some people are called to only speak if it touches their business. Some people are called to not speak at all and to just pray and to live a life of quiet devotion. They're all called, okay? You need discernment in your calling. And number 3, don't let pressure decide that you speak. And don't let fear keep you silent. We've been through a lot in our communities, in our nation, in the world, global things. People are a little bit tired, a little bit weary, a little bit shell shocked, a lot reactive. And it's only getting worse because of the inherent nature of social media, because it's designed to grab attention and we are designed to pay attention to things that grab our attention. I think it was about 2 years ago, I got on a call with my coach, the coach that I had trained with, and I raised my hand. I didn't even know what I was going to ask her about. I just knew that I was so timid that even the act of raising my hand to ask for coaching online would scare me to death. So I made a little promise to myself. Just raise your hand and just speak up and trust whatever comes up to say. Just raising a hand. My golly, there were hundreds of people on that call, and she called on me and first one. I was literally shocked, but I could also sense God's hand in that moment. And excuse me, because it tears me up. But she said, "Would you like coaching on?" And I said something about fear, overcoming the fear. And she said to me, she said, "I think it'd be a really interesting niche if you coached on fear." That is not what I wanted to hear. I sat with it. I absorbed it. I spent the next 2 years coaching on everything but fear, but showing up over and over again, dealing with my fear of visibility, excuse me, my fear of saying something and maybe causing more harm than good, my fear of getting it wrong, my fear of bringing dishonor to the name of Christ. Man, I didn't know I was going to go into this. Should have had tissues. And fear was laced in every area of my life. My fear of losing my children, my fear of losing my husband's love, my fear of not being a good enough wife. Ironically, the one thing that I wasn't afraid of was not being a good enough coach. I do not even know. I had a lot of fears, but there was just 2 or 3 things that I was just not afraid of. But I noticed that. And I dealt with each one of those. And I took literally every thought captive that I could possibly find to the obedience of Christ. This work lasted for a solid 2 years. And then all of a sudden, it just felt like the stronghold collapsed. I remember telling one of my spiritual mentors, it feels like my fear has diminished by at least 40%, maybe 60. And that was a few months ago. It's gone in the last week. It's gone way down. Now, there's still fear that comes up, like I still have a fear of messing things up, breaking things unintentionally. And now that I've spoken it out loud, I will deal with it with my process. And I know how to take it captive and how to think better thoughts and how to overcome those. Fear is one of the enemies. And we have the prescription in the Word of God. Perfect love casts out fear. And anytime I'm fearful, I know my love in that area is just not perfect yet. But every day, moving a little bit closer to perfect, and it's beautiful, it's amazing, and there is almost a holy excitement that is being rewired in my brain. Like when I recognize fear, I recognize, oh, but perfect love is going to be right behind it. Perfect love is going to cast it out. Let's get at it. Let's go to work on it. Listen, Brer fox thought Brer Rabbit was his enemy. Brer Rabbit's happiness. Come on. I mean, sometimes, seriously, sometimes the anger that you, as a called Christian who is building something greater for the kingdom, is people not liking your joy, your gratitude, your peace, your love, your assurance of eternity. They don't like it. They're not going to like your success. They're not going to like you making progress. They're not going to like you being happy or being content or being at peace in the midst of the storm. That's their problem, not your problem. You need discernment to choose your enemies wisely. Because let me tell you this, when you are standing for something, the stronger you stand, the more equally you have to be standing against something. This is what Jesus meant when he said, I did not come for peace, but to set father against mother. He's not saying, so I want to. He's saying that my message is so strong, it will divide very families. Because it's such a strong truth, you have to decide, do I agree with Jesus or do I agree with my family? The message you are called to share, as it grows in strength, as it grows in clarity, you're going to have to practice more and more discernment. Who are my enemies? There's a story about this in Nehemiah where there's like, come down, fight us. And Nehemiah's like, I don't have time to fight you because I'm building these walls. I know what my assignment is, and I'm not coming down to talk about all the problems that you want to talk about. No, no, no. We're in the building stage. Choose your enemies wisely. Choose your words wisely. And discern, is this a time for words or is this just a time for action, for me to be building something? Only you can know that. Again, this message is not for everybody. But if this message has stirred something in you and you want help directly or clarity now, then you can go into the link and you can book a clarity call. This is only for the serious, not the curious, as one of my favorite mentors say. If you need clarity, I'll get on a call with you. But the decision is yours. Are you a builder or are you just a talker about it? Think about that. There's also, let me just close on this. The song, and I put a link to it in the description too. It's Home by Philip Phillips. And this is the line that I love. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons. They fill you with fear. Just know you're not alone. I'm going to make this place your home. Now, we know Earth is not our eternal home, but I think you can claim that as you have an assignment that is yours to steward. That is yours to know the ins and outs of, the message, the mission, to stay focused, tight, clear-sighted, focused on it. Choose your enemies wisely because they will help clarify your message. Got it? All right. I hope this has helped. Share any thoughts, comments, questions in the comments. I'll circle back and address them. I'll talk to you next week about the difference between being a peacekeeper and a peacemaker, because way too many Christians, way too many parents too, but way too many Christians are confused about this one. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.